What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Jeremiah, and I'm here back with another video. This time, a new commentary video, or reacting to Diddy's controversy linked by its Blanco. Now, I really want to know what's going on because I'm a little out of date to the Diddy situation. I want to know what the heck's been going on lately with all of this nonsense that's been going on. And I'm using my old microphone because I like it better. But I really do hope y'all enjoy. And let's get into it.
History and tons of headlines when he jumped on Shannon Sharpe's podcast and basically exposed the entire industry.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times.
I need to retard this a little bit.
In the beginning of this year, comedian Cat Williams made absolute history and tons of headlines when he jumped on Shannon Sharpe's podcast and basically exposed the entire industry.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
Revealing the secrets and the fraud of so many celebrities that we've come to love. And what's so crazy about this interview is that he really had the balls to drop names. And one of those names was Diddy. Now, at the time of this interview coming out, it had lots of mixed reactions because a lot of people were saying that Cat Williams was just going crazy off the liquor, and lots of other people were saying that he was saying some truth. We wouldn't know just how right Cat Williams was because literally 3 months after this interview came out, Diddy's house in LA and Miami would get raided by the FBI for sex trafficking and tons of other shit. Now, 2024 has been the year that lots of people are getting exposed for who they really are, and the #1 person on this list.
It really has been crazy. Celebrities dropping left and being dropping left. Oh my god, I've just started a whole damn time. I was up all night. But celebrities really have been dropping like flies lately, like horribly. Everyone from P. Diddy to Tupac to Biggie. Oh, it's just been bad.
Is Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka the Diddler. Weird sex parties, sex trafficking, drugging people, the amount of
the parrot 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just tired, scrapping. I don't even know how I'm feeling. I should go to bed.
Stuff that this guy has done, calling him the devil would practically be a compliment. At this point, Diddy has done so much shit that a lawyer announced that he has 120 cases against him, with the victims being as 9 years old.
120? What? I was way out of date on this.
You've definitely seen the news about Diddy's insane freakouts and all this other crazy stuff, but I don't think people genuinely understand the extent of just how fucked up all of this is and what he really was willing to do to keep it all hidden. Because this was happening in front of our noses the entire time. For years, public figures and celebrities have warned us about Diddy, and Diddy has practically said it right in front of us too. When it's all said and done, there will be a lot more people other than Diddy behind those bars. So, let's cut the bullshit and get right into it. Now, Diddy is no stranger to legal problems, or even SA lawsuits, honestly. From beating up Nas's manager to being behind an NYC shooting to possibly even being behind the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, Diddy's got a lot on his plate already. Like, if we just erased the last year altogether, Diddy would still have a wild history. Now, if you want to hear me talk about Diddy's legal past, I actually posted a video about that a couple months ago, so check that out after this.
I may gotta check that out too, because I gotta know the truth at this point.
Now, in getting to the whole nitty-gritty of the entire thing, we have to start with the initial case that started this entire downfall. So this goes all the way back in October of 2023 when Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Diddy for extremely abusive behavior. Now, you see, Cassie was actually an R&B singer who was discovered by Diddy when she was 19 years old and signed to Bad Boy Records. And eventually, they started dating, while he was damn near almost 40 years old, by the way. So, like, double her age. They dated from 2007 to 2018, and they basically had a combination of a business and lover type relationship. But apparently, those 11 years were a fucking nightmare. According to the lawsuit, Diddy actually took extreme action to control every single moment of Cassie's life. Now, at first, it started off by signing her to Bad Boy Records. And then once they started dating, he would pay for all of her cars, clothes, her rent, so this way he basically had full financial control over her. If Cassie didn't do whatever it is that he wanted, he would basically threaten to cut her off financially and also threaten to suppress her music. He provided her with copious amounts of drugs and constantly urged her to take them. And she took so much that her medical records actually show that she suffered extreme memory loss from it. And Diddy knew about this because he had access to those records as well, as part of his extreme operation to control her. But the worst part about the entire thing was his extreme relentless violence towards her. One time, Diddy saw Cassie just simply speaking to another talent agent and then started beating her so relentlessly that she started bleeding from the head. When she started dating rapper Kid Cudi, Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car to try and scare him away. And Kid Cudi did confirm this himself.
Brother, he blew up somebody's car and he didn't get arrested. He blew up somebody's car like he's a literal joker and he didn't get arrested. What in the supervillain penguin buffoonery jokerness is this? How is he getting away with blowing up people's cars? That don't even make no sense. He beat somebody to death in there. How he get away with blowing up? Nah.
There was even an incident caught on a hotel surveillance video where Cassie was trying to escape Diddy's control, and he was so goddamn drunk that he chased her down, threw glass bottles at her, and when he caught up to her, he started beating and kicking her relentlessly. Diddy even tried to bribe the hotel to delete the
I do remember this when this blew. I remember when this blew up like a few months back.
Footage, by the way. But the weirdest part about it was that Diddy constantly forced her to do it with other male escorts while he filmed and pleasured himself to it. Didn't matter if she said no.
That nigga he was actually doing real freak-offs, like freaky freak-offs. No.
She had to do it because he had the control. After 11 years, Cassie finally was able to have the guts to actually leave him for good. But when she did, Diddy actually broke into her house and R-worded her. It took her so many years to come forward, but she finally did, and thank God she did. Diddy even apparently tried to make this lawsuit not happen by offering her 8 figures to drop it completely, but she still filed it. Diddy's team completely denied everything and claims that Cassie was just simply trying to find a quick payday. However, literally 1 day later after this lawsuit was filed, it was completely settled for some type of undisclosed amount. And while this lawsuit was settled pretty quickly, it would be the one that basically caused an entire domino effect of Diddy getting exposed for who he is. Because not even 1 week later, 2 more people would file SA lawsuits against Diddy for the things that he did to them as well. And the first one was by a woman by the name of Joy Dickerson Neal, who claims that Diddy took her to dinner after she was in one of his music videos back in 1991. She claims that during dinner, Diddy drugged her, R-worded her, and actually filmed the entire thing on camera. And he then showed it to like a bunch of people who worked at the record label. She claims this caused extreme mental anguish and basically ruined her chances at getting in the industry because this basically was a form of revenge porn. Now, the third suit was filed by a woman by the name of Liza Gardner, who claims that she met Diddy when she was 16 years old at some type of event that was founded by the now defunct media company MCA in around 1990 or 1991. Diddy was extremely flirty and giving her tons of drinks when she, again, was 16. Diddy then invited Liza and her friend to go to singer Aaron's Hall apartment for the after party. It was there that Diddy and Aaron assaulted both girls repeatedly. And a couple days later, Diddy actually went to the home where Liza and her friend were staying and choked her to the point where she passed out. Diddy was actually apparently in a relationship at the time and was scared that Liza's friend would tell his girlfriend. Diddy's team denied both of these as well, claiming that these women were also just looking for a quick cash grab. However, 2 weeks later, Diddy got another pretty disturbing lawsuit from a fourth woman. She claims that when she was 17 years old, she was in a Detroit lounge where she met then president of Bad Boy Records, Harvey Pierre. Harvey claimed that he was actually friends with Diddy and convinced her to get on a private jet with him to New York to meet him. When she is 17 and again underage, it was in New York where she was given tons of drugs and tons of alcohol, and then Harvey and Diddy did, well, you know what they did. I think
Alright, firstly, where were these kids' parents at? You gotta take personal accountability into this. Where was their parents? What parent let some 16-year-old, 17-year-old go off on a little private jet? Did they not have proper parents? No, I think you need to question these people's parents as well. No, where was their parents at? Something not adding up. Like, what rational mother or father will let their kids go off doing who knows what? Like, this don't even make no sense. Where was their parents at?
At this point, it's pretty predictable. In around a month, Diddy had such a giant swarm of cases around him that was pretty concerning. 4 SA lawsuits in 1 month is a terrible look for anybody, even if these were somehow hypothetically false. And
even if a few of them was false, even if, let's just say, one of those spots, so a lot of those stories, they're not even adding up. They're not even adding up, but still, like 4, 5, 6, at this point, most of them got to be true. I mean, I assumed the music industry was kind of bad, but like not this bad. The more I look into this, the more I lose hope in the entire industry. I mean, let's be honest, P. Diddy, everybody and their mama knew he was guilty. Everybody and his mama knew Tupac, Biggie, they all knew these people were horrible people. I don't know why people like to analyze them so much. I mean, I've never even listened to P. Diddy music like that. Like, and I don't even know most of it. Most of the music I listen to is like it's just a bunch of weird, emotional, heartbreak, emo crap. But still, this is wild.
And this did do a lot of damage to Diddy because a lot of his business endeavors and ventures were completely sabotaged by this. He lost his partnership with Ciroc, which was a huge way he made his money. He lost out on a future reality show he had planned with Hulu. He even had to step down from Revolt TV, which was a giant company that he founded. Diddy was already getting his career ruined, so he felt like he had to make a response. On his Instagram, he posted this statement: "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me, and my individual is looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Now, what I described to you...
Well, I shall like pull up an AI. There's probably already a bunch of them with these AI saying Diddy is guilty.
So far is already pretty messed up. And assuming it's true, well, Diddy really is a monster who treats women less than nothing. But this wasn't even the worst of it. Not even close. Because all the stuff I mentioned was bad, but what was coming up next was so bad that it actually made this stuff look like PBS Kids program. Now, on February 2nd, a 5th lawsuit was issued by producer Lil Rod, who worked with Diddy on his latest album, the Love album, Off the Grid. Now, Lil Rod produced 9 songs on the album, and actually during the time he was working on it, he lived with Diddy in various homes in LA, Miami, and New York. However, he was recouped for more than just music, because Lil Rod was forced to engage in tons of illegal activity. Now, for one, Lil Rod was forced to acquire escorts and certain substances for Diddy, and was forced to film Diddy with these escorts all the time. Now, on September 12th of 2022, a shooting occurred after Diddy's son Justin, and a third person got into a pretty heated argument. Now, the third man was shot in the hip by Diddy and was bleeding pretty badly, because, you know, that's what happens when you get shot. Lil Rod was in the exact same room where this happened and even had blood come on his shirt from it. However, Diddy instructed Lil Rod to lie to the police that he was not involved in the shooting, nor was his son Justin. And they tried to make it look like it was some random drive-by shooting. Now, on top of this, Lil Rod was assaulted relentlessly throughout this period. It went from Diddy walking around naked and forcing Lil Rod to watching him shower, to constantly grabbing Lil Rod's you-know-what, and then making Lil Rod...
Bruh, that's in the most literal sense possible disgusting.
Do it with certain people that Diddy was associated with. Now, one of these was the cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, and the other person was a very famous producer by the name of Stevie J, who Lil Rod actually looked up to and was very inspired by. Lil Rod was told that if he did it with some of these people, then he would get a Grammy. Rod also talked about how he was taken advantage of by Cuba Gooding Jr. on a yacht when they were both left alone together.
No lie, I have no idea who that is. Who the heck is Young Miami? I'm not even gonna lie, I have no idea who that lady is, or who Cuba. I mean, I don't know a lot about the music industry whatsoever. I'm not claiming I generally have no idea who half of these people you're talking about is.
Details of that are really gross. Rod was even drugged himself and one day woke up in bed not really knowing what happened with 2 escorts and Diddy himself. Clearly not consenting to any of that. Lil Rod also claims that Diddy hosted multiple events where there were escorts and minors in attendance that were being served drugs and alcohol. Diddy in fact actually had specific bottles for the women that were laced. Lil Rod was actually constantly forced to film a ton of this stuff and says that he has hundreds of hours worth of footage of Diddy committing SA, doing it with minors, doing drugs, and just...
That means this nigga have hours of footage of CP. And he didn't. That means this nigga have video proof of the most heinous crap imaginable, and he just chose to keep it to himself. I mean, you could say, you make an argument, he's just a human. Maybe he was trying to keep himself safe. Maybe he was trying to keep his family safe. But, like, he still got all of that.
Plethora of stuff. Now you see, what Lil Rod was describing was actually the infamous freak-offs that Diddy was hosting. But what exactly were the freak-offs? Now you see, in Hollywood, Diddy had a reputation for being a massive partier, which was mainly because he was the host of the annual white parties. Now this was an annual event that was hosted by Diddy, and the only way you could get in was by being 1, an A-list celebrity, and 2, wearing all white. These parties would take place in luxurious locations like Beverly Hills, the Hamptons, you know what I'm talking about. They had all white decor that would give it a very luxurious and simple feel. No expense was spared on the entertainment, and they usually had like tons of crazy shit going on because this was supposed to be like the one-all be-all celebrity parties. Now this party was marketed to be like for charity and stuff, but in reality it was just an excuse for celebrities to get turned and network. So many big name celebrities came to this thing, it would quite literally be easier for me to tell you who didn't go. But it was after these white parties, when many of the guests left, that the freak-offs would begin and the back rooms. Now Diddy's freak-offs were essentially a gathering of Diddy, sex workers, a select few of his friends, and they would get together and get more freaky than a circus. These were very exclusive events that only a very few select people of Diddy's inner circle could actually attend. Diddy would bring in sex workers from overstate lines, get a ton of drugs, and basically have a bender that lasted for days at times. These were so intense that people would actually need IV fluids after. And it was for these freak-offs that Diddy's true disgusting behavior really came out. Now for these freak-offs, Diddy allegedly committed racketeering, sex trafficking, bribery, kidnapping, and more. You see, Diddy would do almost anything possible to get his way, no matter what. Many of the people who...
Why do y'all look up to these people who's literal criminals? Like, now that I think about it, every time I hear a rap song, people like, they're admitting to the crimes they're committing inside of a song, and people just think it's cool. Like, I heard somebody say, since you're, when have it been normalized? When have it been normalized to be a crack shot or be a youngin? Like, when have it been normal to be like a crazy person who's out here murdering people? And being how does not being out here being a hoodlum, like, when have been a normal dude, somebody just trying to make it, been not normal? Like, yeah, I heard somebody say, bro, you just lame because you're not out here robbing people. Bro, you just lame because you're not out here being a person. No, I don't want to do it. I'm a normal dude. I like sitting at home playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Bro, I just watched episode 4 of the final season of Superman Lois. You think I don't want to be out here being crazy? I like sitting at home in my bed recording YouTube videos, making commentary videos. I mean, I might get into some things in the future about law. Not a police officer role, maybe police officer, but I don't even know. But still, I'm like a normal dude. I'm like a chill dude. Yeah, I want to be wealthy, so I don't have to worry about work anymore. But still, it's nonsense. Legitimately, oh my god, it's like, yeah, it's weird. Like, normal have become like obsolete.
Participated in the freak-offs did not really do so willingly. Now, lots of the women that were involved were actually women that he managed or that he found at various clubs or other ways. Diddy would use his status, violence, and drugs to make these people participate. It's not an exaggeration to say that Diddy is quite literally one of the most powerful
and these are people y'all idolize.
People in the music industry. He's a billionaire. He got those billions somehow. He quite literally is responsible for some of the most famous musicians in history. So if he told you go suck some guy off, otherwise your career, money, and status is completely gone, well, you kind of have to.
You know, I guess my career is over because I ain't never gonna suck no dick ever. These people were so worried about their fame and money that they was willing to do anything for a little bit of fame. No. These people legit got no morals whatsoever.
Do it. And with a lot of the other women specifically, he would actually beat them relentlessly to make them compliant. Sometimes what he did to them was so bad that it would actually take them weeks to recover. And anyone who witnessed this also got a beating. But on top of it all, he often drugged his guests to be a lot more enthusiastic and willing to join in. With Diddy, no is never an option. He had no limits when it came to the freak-offs, and even elements of this were actually displayed at his white parties, which were extremely publicized. And Diddy was not alone on this. He was far from alone. Diddy basically slowly constructed an entire entire empire to make this whole thing happen, and that would constitute as racketeering. So what exactly is racketeering? Well, it's basically when a large organization commits tons of illegal activity for money and or power. This involves a ton of illegal stuff, like selling drugs, sex trafficking, money laundering, murder, illegal gambling, tons of stuff. The most common and famous example is the mafia, where people like John Gotti and Al Capone were found guilty of. It's very serious shit, and Diddy's mafia in this case consisted of his team and very big record labels, including Universal Music Group, which is the biggest record label like in the world. They own every single artist that you listen to, as well as Motown Records and Love Records. Diddy was basically working with all these people to lead a secret enterprise. This is where it gets real deep, people. Now, Diddy's associates, or his goons if you will, were actually in charge of handling the logistics, like booking the hotel rooms, getting the drugs, the escorts, and everything else that was needed, which is where Lil Rod unintentionally played a role here. Now, one of the biggest people who played a role in this that no one really is talking about is Christina Karam, who was Diddy's chief of staff.
Yeah,
If
I
Diddy
know who
is
that
Epstein,
is.
this woman is Ghislaine Maxwell. She constantly made sure that Diddy was fed all of his favorite drugs and was high all the time, and even instructed the butlers, the chef, and all of the employees to constantly have drugs on standby. At the parties, she made sure that all the celebrities were given drugs, especially the celebrity guests. She also made sure that all the prostitutes, sex workers, and minors were in attendance for Diddy's pleasure. She was essentially either doing the work herself, or she was the head honcho who was instructing other people what to do. In terms of doing the dirty work,
That's evil. That's so bloody evil.
producer Stevie J would help get the sex workers, Diddy's son Justin would also get the workers and some of the minors, and Syracuse basketball player Brandon Paul was also Diddy's drug mule. So how exactly were the labels possibly involved in all of this? Well, in multiple different ways. You see, Motown Records and Love Records sponsored multiple album listening parties and writing camps where some of these illegal activities took place. These events were sort of meant to attract innocent and unexperienced musicians who were trying to get experience in the industry. The listening parties specifically was where Diddy had some of these freak-offs. All the stuff I talked about was happening at these events that the labels were hosting.
Why do I feel like every big name celebrity, they're somehow involved in this? Like, we could name any big name, Billie Eilish, Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber might have been, he might have been a victim actually. But why do I feel like most big name celebrities is probably guilty? Or they're for to come down? Specifically Ice Spice. No, her music is not that good. There should have been no reason why she ever got famous in the first place. It doesn't make sense. Her music sucks. It's bad. There should have been no reason why she got famous.
The CEO of Motown Records and the CEO of Universal Music Group actually attended where some of these events were happening too.
Wait
They
a
either
second.
got CEO of Universal
Yo, he looked like the dude from Up. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, if I edit it, I'm not gonna edit this, but he looked like the dude from Up.
Music Group actually attended where some of these events were happening too. They either got involved in the illegal activity or they turned a blind eye to it. Even simply knowing about it and pretending like as if it's not happening, that is involvement to a certain degree. It's even speculated the labels actually provided the resources for the sex workers to be brought over state lines. Much of these listening parties were simply just a facade for all the illegal shit going on. These labels are also part of a much bigger and broader conspiracy as to being compliant with Diddy's manipulation, where he got people to do his bidding by promising them fame, fortune, and a bunch of other stuff. By not intervening and just simply letting him do what he wants, they partially take responsibility for a lot of the shit going on. Many of the people that Diddy worked with, including Lil Rod, were actually never paid for their work on the album, which the label profits off of. This constitutes as fraud. If the labels truly are involved in the sex trafficking, the drug distribution, and the fraud, this is racketeering and can constitute as a RICO case.
Dang. Every big name enterprise, every big name, they're unless they're 3D clean, no threat of guilt can nothing to beat Diddy at all. If they're not completely separated from, they're not going to last for much longer. Like the years almost out, we still get to do. The years legit almost out, we're still getting new information about Diddy. Like the year is almost out, and something it's like something worse seems to come out every single month. It's for real crazy.
Now, Diddy's house was officially raided pretty shortly after this lawsuit happened, but it actually wasn't until September 16th when he was officially arrested, around 6 months later. As we know, the police found 1,000 bottles of lotion and nearly 800 special toys. The craziest thing is that this has been nearly going on for 3 decades. For over 25 years, Diddy was doing this crazy, manipulative, dark shit for so long, and no one had the guts to come forward. It's like every single week we're seeing some crazy new thing occur about Diddy. And there is a reason why it took so long for people to come out. Not because they were bad people. You see, Diddy was very strategic into making people be quiet about what he was doing. At almost every single party, anyone who was there with or against their will was secretly being filmed. Diddy would use this footage as blackmail to anyone who dared step.
And we knew this. He was filming everybody, so nobody could speak out unless they want to lose their money. But like, you chose money over people's health and safety. You chose money over your own moralities. At that point, you're worse. At that point, you're legit worse than P. Diddy. For a little bit of bread, money you could have easily made back if you was truly talented, and you chose to hide this information, knowing this man's a criminal, and you chose to do that just for a little bit of bread. You're worse than scum, buddy. Like all y'all big name celebrities, y'all do this information for real, and y'all choose to keep it private just because you didn't want to lose your money. You're worse than scum. Like you're legit worse than scum. Well, the Kachi Crow. Those who break the rules are scum, but those who bend their friends even worse are scum, and that's y'all.
Forward. He also had other methods as well, such as his intimidation with his status or using his guns and his goons. Kind of like
y'all knowing people out here being tortured, danger. Y'all knowing people out here being abused. These literal children, y'all kept that information to yourself. Y'all scum.
The same way he blew up Kid Cudi's car to try and scare him away, but he would also try and do the opposite as well, such as giving very generous gifts to make people be compliant. Cassie's case is so important because she really was the one who inspired people to come forward. If it wasn't for her, there's a very good chance that Diddy would still be out right now getting away with it. Cassie herself was one of the people who was forced into these freak-offs, and CNN would later release the footage where Cassie was actually running away from Diddy at that hotel room. This was actually when one of the freak-offs were happening and she was trying to escape. Now that Diddy was arrested, more and more people felt comfortable coming forward with their stories and telling very similar things. Did he drug them, R-word them, and so on. Diddy at this point has so many cases that a lawyer quite literally came out saying that he has 120 cases against him, all SA, with the victims being as—
Right, he better go to jail. There should be no reason why he should get off scot-free. I know it's supposed to be innocent to prove it guilty, but no, he's guilty. He's definitely guilty.
As young as 9 years old. Literally a fifth of the cases are claiming that they were minors when they were victims. One woman who filed a lawsuit actually worked for Diddy and described the horror of working for him at one of these parties. Originally, she was hired to be a go-go dancer for Diddy's white parties, but once the crowd died down and the freakouts began, her role changed. Diddy did not instruct but commanded her to do it with a lot of the guests. Guests that she described as high prolific names in the hip-hop industry. She was afraid to say no because Diddy actually promised that he would help her break into the industry, and by saying no, she would ruin her chances of that. It was also probably because she was unknowingly drinking drugged alcohol. I mean, at this point, anyone who was drinking anything around Diddy was probably drugged. Another insane story is a man who talked about how he attended one of Diddy's white parties when he was 6 years old because his dad was the photographer. And originally the parties were promised that it would be a very family-friendly ordeal.
Brother, why would you bring your kids to that? Why would you bring your kid to a place where you know a bunch of alcohol is going to be in the first? Why would you even consider bringing your kids to that, knowing who you're dealing with?
But that was not the case. At first it was family friendly, but as the night went on, the Diddy shenanigans started. Weed, topless women, the whole shebang started coming out right in front of this kid while they knew.
And the father didn't take his kid out of there? He didn't leave? I think it's on Fire Watch.
Knew he was there. If Diddy had no problem doing all of this type of stuff in public, it really shows you just how scary he probably is behind the scenes. It really begs the question about who possibly knew about Diddy's activity and who possibly even got involved. The possibility—
people kept it to themselves because all they cared about was money and a little bit of fame that you're probably about to lose now. You did all of that, keep your fame, and you're about to lose it now. How's that feel? You's about to lose everything you work for. Everything. Like you kept this information. You probably did dark copy stuff just for the tiniest bit of money.
Abilities are endless, as Diddy has clearly established that he is connected to almost anyone that's famous. I mean, literally anybody who was at these white parties had a very solid chance at being involved, or at least knew about it. They were all there. So we know for sure that some of them were involved, but who? Well, a drug dealer who supplied for these parties actually came forward himself and talked about how when he actually did do the delivery, he saw lots of very high prolific rappers getting it on with each other. Now, when Lil Rod filed the lawsuit against Diddy, he claims that there were other celebrities who were also involved in these acts. Now, while the names were redacted in this case, a lot of people were able to use the context clues given to determine that the people who were involved were Meek Mill, Usher, and Chris Brown. Artists who are all very heavily involved with Diddy publicly and had their careers greatly benefited from him. And as we know, other celebrities who were involved in this case clearly are Stevie J, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Diddy's son. But there are much more people who clearly were also involved in this as well. Now, from various clips, videos, and such, we have a decent insight as to who possibly else could get involved. In 2014, Khloe Kardashian talked about how she was at a Diddy party and everyone was butt naked.
At 5:30 a.m. Go this party. I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
On an episode of Hot Ones, Ashton Kutcher also talked about how he was on an episode of Hot Ones, but kind of seemed reluctant to get into any of the details.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them.
Keep in mind, Ashton co-hosted one of the white parties with Diddy one year, so he definitely has some insights. And one of the biggest celebrities under the spotlight easily is Usher. Now, Diddy was a mentor to Usher early in his career and actually was his legal guardian at one point. Usher lived with Diddy at one point at 14 and says that he actually sort of...
That dude, Diddy, he looks evil. Like, you know, you could look at somebody, look into somebody's eyes. Like, I can normally get a feel for a personality, they vibe. And he looks, you know, demonic and evil. I can't explain it. He just looks like he looks like there's something wrong with him.
Witnessed some of the Diddy party stuff. When asked about it, he didn't really give too much detail, claiming that he just simply saw the lifestyle.
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
But the part about this interview that tells you all you really need to know was when Diddy said he would never send his daughter to a Diddy camp.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
It should be noted that after Diddy was arrested, Usher noticeably deleted every single one of his tweets, including the one video where him and Diddy were pretty sweaty together but did not seem to be exercising. But considering Usher was being pulled into Diddy's influence at such a young age, you could claim that he is also a victim. And it also seems like Justin Bieber was also a victim of Diddy's handling. A video that I've been seeing constantly being shared that is really eerie now was the video where Justin Bieber spends 48 hours with Diddy.
Check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Now, at the time, it may have seemed innocent because it's just two high-profile celebrities networking or whatever. But watching this now is pretty weird considering what we know. And there's also a video of them 2 years later that just seems really off.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything?
Yeah.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
The fact is, I'm a little child, and I can see some crazy crap going on. Like, I'm only 19, and this crap is going on behind the scenes. And we just graduated high school, and now we just in the world. We about to fall off all this crap. It's complete nonsense.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 555.
Yes. Okay.
5555.
Okay. 55. You heard that?
Diddy was asking Justin Bieber why they never hang out, even though Diddy is like 3 times his age. And in the video, you can see Diddy giving Justin this really menacing and interrogative look. Meanwhile, in the video, Justin Bieber is fidgeting, stuttering, and not making direct eye contact, which really implies that he was really nervous. There's also lots of clips of Justin drinking heavily at Diddy's parties, which also implies that Diddy was the one who got him into drinking. Justin would have some pretty bad issues with alcohol in his life, considering he also got arrested for a DUI, which also probably contributes a lot to Justin's issues.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second.
Chloe herself said that Justin was at the Diddy party, and this was in 2014, which would mean that Justin was 20 years old at the time.
So who was with you this weekend? A bunch of my friends. Diddy.
All this was happening when I was in like elementary school, and it's weird. Most of this like years ago. I was in elementary school when this crap was happening.
Quincy, Justin Bieber, so far French so good. Montana. Do you even know half the people you're naming? No.
So he was definitely introduced to all of it at a very young age. And there aren't really as many celebrities who self-snitched on themselves rather than the ones who actually tried to warn us about Diddy. Now, the very first person who ever accused Diddy of doing some weird shit was actually Corinne Steffens, who was a video vixen, which is basically like a girl model for all the music videos. She actually released a memoir of her own called Confessions of a Video Vixen, where she talked a lot about her experience with various rappers, mostly about fucking them. And one of them was, well, you guessed it, Diddy. She talked about how she hooked up with Diddy and how actually Diddy was very eerie of her. Apparently, Diddy actually suspected that she was a type of girl that would rat on him. She appeared at one of Diddy's parties and she basically experienced the works. And Diddy would technically be right because, well, she appeared at of her. Apparently, Diddy. She talked about that she was a type of girl that would rat.
Look at his face. Why does he look like that? He's not. He's
on him.
He's almost literal sense in the way ugly. Like how the people. Look at his eyes. They don't look normal.
She appeared at one of Diddy's parties and she basically experienced the works. And Diddy would technically be right because, well, she did tell about it. Cat Williams, who I mentioned before, was one of the very few celebrities who actually directly mentioned the parties before any of this other shit came out. And he even talked about how he rejected Diddy's offers because he knew something was up. Cat would even mention the events at one of his recent performances after everything came out.
That's my point. You can't be so happy to change shit that you fuck up your life. You know how many celebrities went to Diddy's house thinking they was finna dance? How does that feel? You a grown-ass man. You gotta leave Diddy's party like that. You can't even sit down in the car. You got to drive all the way home, standing up.
Imagine how much people did say it. They just thought people were joking.
Mark Curry, a rapper who was actually signed to Bad Boy Records, talked about the various weird stuff that was going on with the Diddy parties too.
Would they be having them parties where they won't invite you to? And they'd be like, we having a party tonight, but this ain't your kind of party. You'd be like, yeah, I ain't going. I don't want to go.
He also mentioned what I talked about earlier, where there were specific bottles for women for obvious reasons.
We used to go to when we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they'd been to have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was. You just don't mess with them bottles, right?
Wendy Williams hinted at the very toxic behavior between Diddy and Cassie on her show at one point. You see, Diddy and Cassie actually did break up for a little bit back in 2015. And Wendy actually kind of like predicted that Cassie would return back to him.
Like, Cassie will be back. Mark my word.
And Wendy was right in a way because clearly we saw that Cassie didn't really have a choice. Diddy actually came on the Williams show and there's actually a clip surfacing around where Diddy talks about how he met Wendy's 16-year-old daughter. And you can clearly see her gulp and get really nervous.
What?
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You represent a lot
because clearly she's a little bit scared of how he said that. Aubrey O'Day is a person who worked pretty close with Diddy, and she talked about how it was pretty awful working with him. Now, Aubrey was part of a group called Danity Kane, and they were featured on the show Making the Band, where Diddy sort of coached them. Now, moments in the show got pretty gruesome, but by watching this, you could probably guess it's just some trashy TV stuff. However, Aubrey will reveal this is no act. She would even appear on the TV show The Apprentice, and when Donald Trump asked her about Diddy, she was pretty hesitant to actually talk about him.
Working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects...
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh, wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Now, during Kanye's phase of praising a particular mustache man who got rejected from art school, he had a very heated discussion with Diddy. Fella, send me an
Trump gotta get put on fraud watch. Too, if he out here being friends with Diddy, he know all this. And people said the feelings that Donald Trump got probably fake. People they was attacked. No, that nigga probably guilty too.
address. Let's stop playing these internet games and don't feel threatened. You'll be fine. Just love. This ain't a game. I'm gonna use it as an example to show the Jewish people that told you to call me that no one can threaten or influence me. I told you this was war. Now go and get you some business. I'm just trying to talk to you as a black man, and I'm talking to you because this is hurting our people. Stop. Anything you text, I will post. I love you. And you guys are breaking my heart. I accept your apology in advance. As soon as I land, we'll meet face to face. Send me an address. Fella, fuck you. You fed. And the most obvious one and the biggest one is, of course, 50 Cent. 50 and Diddy have a long beef that involves like a ton of shit. It originally started when 50 accused Diddy of being involved in the deaths of Biggie Smalls and Tupac. There's like kind of proof of this, but that's a video for another day. 50 and Diddy would beef relentlessly over the years for...
Some of the stuff I read is been confirmed that Diddy was responsible for the deaths.
Bunch of different reasons. Again, that's its own video for another day, so let me know if you want to see that. And 50 was already aware of Diddy's behavior.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said.
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 9th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like he says something fabulous and he goes, yo, no.
Too tired for this. This is a Jesus Christ. That's all I have for y'all today. I really do hope y'all enjoyed my little input. This is all these people finna get what they deserve, because that's truly, and this is some despicable nonsense right here. But it's Blinko. Y'all already know who he is. Y'all just go find that original video if y'all want to watch the full without me speaking over it. But like, Jesus Christ, this is just disgusting. I'm not even gonna edit this.